He is the last known American reporter held inside Syria. Austin Tice is an Eagle Scout and a Marine Corps veteran who put his studies at Georgetown Law on hold to cover the civil war in Syria in 2012. It has now been nearly 900 days since any official contact has been made. Austin's parents, Deborah and Mark Tice, join us from Houston tonight. Thank you both so much for being with us. It's good to see both of you. Deborah, if I could, I'd like to start with you. You believe your son's still alive. Reporters Without Borders believes he's still alive. You say right now he's suspended between two governments. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that the Syrian government has assured us that they will do all they can to find Austin. And the American government has also assured us that they will do all they can to find Austin and bring him safely home. Because of the diplomatic and political situation between those two countries, we can't be sure that they're communicating with each other, even though they share this common objective. And certainly, we're not getting full communication from either one of them. And so in that way, Austin is suspended between these two governments.
And you're put in the position of trying to negotiate when you don't have any official contact with either of these governments.
Correct. And we also don't have full information about where Austin is or who is holding him.
Well, and we're not experts or diplomats. We're just parents with a steep learning curve.
A lot of families or parents with abducted children or folks put in similar situations are reluctant sometimes to speak out, worried they might cause harm or further complicate the situation. You're really ratcheting up the awareness this month. Why is that, Mark?
Well, the idea of speaking out or not speaking out is something that we don't believe should be a blanket rule. It's very situational, depending on, the exact situation that your loved one is in and the family as well. We believe that by increasing awareness of Austin's situation, that we can bring more public pressure, so to speak, a greater awareness, and that's the kind of thing that governments tend to respond to. So we're hoping that with this broader awareness, we'll be able to see continued and increased efforts to bring Austin home.
Effectively, we want to amplify our voice, calling for our son's safe release.
Mark, Austin was doing reporting, as you know, for McClatchy newspapers, the Washington Post, CBS, among others. Why was this work so important to him?
Well, Austin had gained an affinity for the region. There are very many things about it. And when this conflict broke out, of course, at the time, although there were and still are many citizen journalists and local journalists sharing this information, there were very few Western journalists able to get into the country and provide, accurate information about the conflict. He felt like he had the skills to do so, and I think based on the results that he got, which were beyond our imaginings and I think beyond his expectations, he was proven to be right.
Deborah, the White House has launched now a policy review of how hostage situations are handled. In your estimation, what needs to change?
Oh my goodness. I would start with everything, but there are three main areas that we feel need to be changed. Interagency communication in our government, there needs to be a clear objective and a singular point directing that objective. Communication with the families needs to be much more efficient, much more effective, far more transparent and comprehensive. And additionally, Mark and I are very concerned about the one that doesn't have a voice, the actual missing person, and how their identity and assets are protected, which at this time, I don't think there's a policy that really addresses that issue.
There are 17 intelligence agencies who might handle different parts of this, and they're not talking to each other.
Right. And when they get information, that information becomes proprietary to that agency. And so another agency would have to know that it existed and request that it be shared. And if it were shared, then the agency receiving it has no authority to share it because it doesn't belong to them. They have it as permission from the other one. So it's just very convoluted, the way the whole thing doesn't work.
And Mark, another part of this, I mean, Austin has email accounts, other communication accounts. When he goes missing or when other hostages are taken in situations like this, you then don't have access to those accounts, but the government does.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, everybody's familiar with the privacy laws that exist and the issues around access to email accounts, Facebook, Twitter accounts. You know, and you know, we don't want to debate the question of whether privacy is important. Clearly it is. But this is a very unique situation where we're dealing with, you know, an adult. Austin was 30 when he went to Syria. He wasn't sharing his account information and you know, passwords with us. But we find ourselves in a situation where it'd be very valuable for us to be able to access and monitor or manage those kinds of accounts. And there just aren't mechanisms in place, as far as we can ascertain, that allow us as the parents to do that. And even, you know, what we've been told by government agencies, even they have a limited ability to access that information. It has to be done, you know, in a very narrow range for specific purposes. A lot of that we think could be resolved by changes in policy, changes in you know, statutes if necessary, to be able to allow for, you know, more effective functioning and more effective efforts around this unique kind of situation.
Right.
The end goal for you being involve families more.
Well,
no, the end goal being that the government respond to these situations more efficiently and more effectively.
yeah, you know, one thing that I like to make clear is that all the entities, the structures, the people, the organizations that are necessary to handle these situations are in place. So we're not advocating for a new bureaucracy or you know, massive changes. What we really want to see is that the resources that are currently being used are used effectively, efficiently, towards, you know, a common singular goal of the safe return. We're not asking for a review of national security policy or changes in our foreign policy. We just want to make all the processes and all the resources work effectively for families, and especially effectively bring hostages home safely.
We all miss him terribly. You know, we miss the he's just big, and so we miss the big that he brings when we all get together, the big laugh and the big stories. And so there's no effort in poignantly missing him when we're all together, because we're not all together. We're all together except for Austin.
Part of that big is Austin's personality and his opinions, and you don't shy away from that on the website. Keeping up some of the things he wrote, and to call it headstrong would be an understatement.
You should give a shot at being his mom.
What was Austin like as a kid?
Oh my gosh, we were just recently going through, you know, some of his things for an event that's coming up associated with the awareness campaign, and we found a letter that he had written to President Clinton when he was 12, discussing the pros and cons of invading Haiti. He was 12. What else, Debbie? I mean, it's the more we look back, it's
just a big-hearted. He loved being the big brother. He loved toting his baby brothers and sisters around. You know, big in love, big in passion. You know, really inquisitive, always eager to be informed, eager to understand.
When he first told you he wanted to go to Syria, did part of you wonder why? And did part of you want to say no?
Oh, all of me wanted to say no. All of me wanted to say no, but it just wasn't an option. So the appropriate response is just to help him think it through and make sure that he's thought of everything.
Mark and Deborah Tice joining us from Houston tonight. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for having us.